Okay, yes. Good morning and welcome to the June meeting of the Finance Committee. This is the first committee meeting with our new official president up in Albany. Congratulations, Robert.
Thank you, Chair.
Move on. First up is the adoption of meeting minutes from the May meeting of Finance. Can I get a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
So moved, sir.
Thank you so very much. Janice up in beautiful Buffalo.
Yes,
Thank you very much. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. First up is the PIT transaction. That's going to be presented by Matt. Thank you, Matt.
Hey, Matt, Sal, how are you?
Morning, Al. How you doing? The Finance Committee is being asked to recommend to the board authorization for the issuance of multiple series of tax-exempt and or taxable, fixed and or variable rate bonds issued at one or more times in the amount not to exceed $1.6 billion. The state would like the flexibility to issue the proposed bonds under either the personal income tax revenue bond program and or the sales tax revenue bond program. However, the current plan of finance is to issue competitively under the sales tax revenue bond program. The authorization is for new money, and although the proceeds of the bonds may be used for any authorized purpose, the programs or projects expected to be financed include the Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Program, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority's transportation facilities, and transportation initiatives for the Department of Transportation's New York Works programs. The bonds will be issued with a term of 30 years, provided, however, the maximum term of the portion of the financing related to the MTA capital projects may have a term of up to 50 years. Regarding security, under the personal income tax revenue bond program, the security includes 50% of the receipts from the New York State personal income tax, 50% of the employer compensation expense tax, and 50% of the receipts from the pass-through entity tax, which are deposited into the revenue bond tax fund. For the sales tax revenue bond program, security includes a set aside of 2 cents of the state's 4% sales tax, which is deposited into the sales tax revenue bond tax fund. In looking at coverage, the most recent fiscal year ending March 31st, 2024, the debt service coverage on all outstanding state personal income tax bonds is projected to come in at 8.1 times total debt service, and the debt service coverage on all outstanding sales tax bonds is projected to come in at 7.7 times total debt service. And these numbers were posted on March 6th, and that's why I say it is projected to come in at these figures. However, these will be updated very shortly with the actual coverage ratios. And finally, the expected ratings of either program are AA1, AA+, AA+, AAA, and we are planning to sell in the second week of July. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt.
No, I don't have any questions.
Any questions or concerns for Matt?
No questions.
I'll note that I think the controller recently issued a report saying that the sales tax revenue was actually higher than expected. So that's sort of good news in regard to a PIT transaction. Are there any other questions by any other board members? And I'm sorry I didn't say hello to our new board member, Ken. Just so you know, Ken, you can always chime in at any finance committee meeting that you're in. If you'd like to comment or have any questions. Any other board members? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve that sales tax PIT bond.
So moved.
Thank you, Al. Second, Janice,
Second.
thank you. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, so that motion carries. Thank you so very much. Next up is hold on, I gotta check. It was at Columbia University and Dave's presenting. Sorry, Dave, I forgot.
Morning, everyone. Finance Committee is being asked to recommend to the full board the adoption of a resolution to proceed to authorize a new commercial paper program on behalf of Columbia University. Staff is seeking authorization for the issuance of multiple series of commercial paper notes or CP notes on behalf of the university, up to a maximum of $250 million at any one time, to finance certain capital projects as described in the financing details of the transaction report. Columbia has issued its own taxable CP in the past, but this will be the first tax-exempt CP program that's authorized by DASNY for Columbia. Some of the details of this program might be familiar to some of the members, as we did present a similar CP program back in April for another higher ed borrower. A little bit of background on commercial paper, since we don't do this very often. Commercial paper notes are short-term promissory notes with maturities of 270 days or less that are issued periodically to finance capital projects and often serve as a bridge financing to long-term bonds. CP notes are often rolled or refunded with the proceeds of new notes to a new maturity one or more times before ultimately being paid off with long-term debt. Some benefits to certain borrowers for issuing CP: it's a tax exempt alternative to lines of credit. It can allow the borrower to move more quickly to access their funds as opposed to issuing long-term bonds. And since the notes can be rolled over time, it provides some flexibility if or when to refinance with bonds and lock in long-term rates. So with this financing in front of you today, we're requesting authorization for the issuance of multiple CP notes up to a maximum of 250 million. Each CP note maturity will not exceed 270 days and can be rolled for a period of up to 30 years. The CP notes are expected to be sold publicly from time to time through a dealer selected by the university. The outstanding obligations of Columbia are currently rated AAA by Moody's and AAA by S&P. The loan agreement is expected to be a general unsecured obligation of the university. The notes are expected to be assigned a short-term rating of P1 from Moody's and A1+ from S&P, which is the highest rating for short-term debt. And it's anticipated that the university will act as its own liquidity facility provider to pay the principal and interest on the notes when due at maturity if necessary. With regard to the projects, the CP proceeds are expected to be used to finance the costs associated with various construction and renovation projects at the Morningside Heights, Medical Center, and Manhattanville campuses. The largest projects to be financed include the construction of 2 new facilities. On the Manhattanville campus, construction of a new 34-story building to house graduate students is nearing completion. And that facility is expected to be completed this year, which will be approximately 180,000 square feet and include 142 apartments. That project we also financed with proceeds from the 2023 bonds. On the Medical Center campus, the university is in the early stages of constructing a new 9-floor, 81,000 square foot research building that will house new state-of-the-art laboratories and expanded research space to support biomedical research projects. Other projects to be financed include numerous renovation, deferred maintenance, and replacement projects that are located at various facilities across the Columbia system. Lastly, the members will recall that we brought a bond financing to the board back in April, where the board adopted a resolution to proceed for a $150 million bond issuance on behalf of Columbia. After that meeting, the university put that bond transaction on hold temporarily as it revised its plan of finance. It added the commercial paper component that's before you today. So as a result, we expect to come back to the board in July to adopt the financing documents for both the $250 million CP program that's in front of you today, as well as the $150 million bond financing that was initially approved by the board back in April. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Matt. Any questions, concerns for Matt? From either committee members or other board members?
I don't have any questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Well, Columbia certainly is a long-term client of DASNY and a
And
wonderful
an
client of
excellent
that.
client.
So it's a pleasure to ask for a motion to recommend approval of this offering at today's board meeting, which will happen well after audit.
So moved.
Thank you, Janice, very much.
Second.
Second by Al. Thank you. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
None
Aye.
opposed. That motion carries. Last up is one of my favorites, a TELP offering, and Matt's going to present that. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. And so the Finance Committee is being asked to recommend to the board a TELP transaction on behalf of NYSARC Inc. in the amount not to exceed $25 million. NYSARC plans to finance computer equipment, other equipment, including furniture and appliances, as well as vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Any questions or concerns for Matt on the TELP?
None here.
Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to recommend approval at the full board meeting.
So moved.
So
Thank you so very much, Al. Thank you for the second, Janice. All in favor, aye. Aye. None
Aye.
opposed. No abstentions, then that motion carries. And unless anyone has any questions or concerns for finance, that'll conclude today's finance committee meeting, and then I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Thank you very much. Al?
So moved.
Second, Janice, thank you. All in favor, aye. Aye. None opposed. That motion carries. Madam Chair, I turn it over to you. Thank you very much.
You don't turn it over to me. You
Oh,
turn it
turn it
over
over to Sarah?
to Sarah.